born on autopilot. Before I touch dirt or kill y'all with kindness, I kill ya, my natural persona.
Right, we're on. So, guys, because me and Dan John are not the most technically proficient, we're doing a Skype video conference, and I'm recording it through Flipcam. So you'll pick up volume, and most importantly, you'll pick up knowledge. So, Dan, thanks for doing this, my man.
Thank you. It's awesome. This worked out great.
So, last time that we spoke, you were still at the high school and coaching athletes, and you're still coaching athletes, but you got some different things going on. So just tell us, quick update about what's changed. What you said, I think we spoke in 08, maybe 09.
I just thought it would be 09. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, since that time, I graduated another daughter from high school. She became a state champion in the shot, and I moved to California the next weekend, and I'm doing a lot of, I really have an interesting life now. I'm trying real hard to work on my craft. It's kind of funny to say that after so many years in the weight room, but it's like I'm really trying to explore some things about, well, I've been saying for years that after age, say 27 or 28, we should focus on joint mobility and hypertrophy. So after 27, 28 years of age, no matter who you are, no matter what your goal set is, lean body mass, build little muscle, especially like in the glute, deltoid, tricep, rhomboids, even your six-pack, make yourself more, as lean as you can get yourself for the long haul, and make sure your joints are mobile. I didn't say flexible, I said mobile. Make sure you have mobility. Well, I've been saying that, and okay, that's great. Way to say it. Well, it kind of occurred to me, I'm giving all this advice and information about you need joint mobility and you need hypertrophy, but Danny, how are you incorporating that into training programs? So really, for about a year and a half, besides writing books and articles and helping, a whole bunch of collision people, like football players and rugby and Gaelic hurling and, people in the military, I've been trying real hard to work on putting together programs for middle-aged people to combine the two keys. And if you have joint mobility and hypertrophy, all the other goals, everything else seems to fit. You look good, you feel good, you can do, if you're, I don't know, if you squat 3 days a week, generally you can probably walk up a hill with the bag of groceries, So that's kind of where I'm at now. I mean, I can make it sexier if you want. I mean, I can, hey man, but that's really what I'm doing. So I'm really exploring my craft right now. I'm trying to put my money where my mouth is when I tell people what to do. So the idea is that now I can also say, okay, do this, So there you go.
Awesome. So I love hearing that stuff just because I've been speaking to some of my friends, and we're now in our mid to late 30s, and we're like, if we only knew now if we only knew back then what we knew now, the famous saying, and we've really had to revamp our training, and it's just, it's amazing. I remember one of my friends saying, he goes, Ed Cohn was never rolling all over the floor on a foam roller. So we were like, what the heck happened to us? And it's just amazing how the training has to evolve. If you don't evolve, your body will break down.
So, and the funny thing is now, and see now, I agree with you, but I would take the vision of what we're talking about and expand it even to like the high school athlete. The high school athlete should be exposed to at least where the route is going. You take these 15, 16-year-olds and say, okay, here's your roadmap, your path. If you blow up as a freshman in college, sophomore, junior, drinking beer and eating pizza, there's going to be a due. There's going to be a bill come due on that. If you get into twisted up joints, or if you do too much flexibility, or I don't know, there's going to be a bill to pay on that. Just okay. So here's the steps you need to do to kind of keep a handle on things. I think the biggest mistake most of us make up until about probably where you're at is that we always keep the foot on the gas pedal. More. And I mean, I'm not trying to plug the book, but one of the things about Easy Strength, the book Powell and I came out with, is the idea that I know I'm right. I know that I'm right. You can't have the pedal to the metal all the time. You have to bring in periods. And the funny thing is, the reason it's called easy strength, of all the qualities an athlete can have, the easiest one is to get stronger. Over and over and over, I have proved that it's the easiest thing you can do. You lift weights, and a few days later, you go back to lift weights, and you actually lift more weight. By definition, you're stronger. Easiest quality I know. By God, compare it to getting flexible. Go to a yoga class and look around one day, your first day. The route to being the most flexible person in a yoga class, that's a steep one. Getting stronger, literally, I can get you stronger every day. Linear progression works for a beginner. We know that, just something as simple as easy strength works for an advanced athlete, where you're just doing the move, greasing the groove, You get stronger.
Awesome, yeah.
That's all you got to do. So why do we make it so complicated?
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is you've got to take the foot off the gas pedal to keep going. Tommy Kono, who's really one of my big heroes, 8 weeks before a weightlifting contest, he put himself on an 8-week, cycle. He's going to get a little stronger every week. The day the meet was over, he'd go back to the gym and bodybuild.
Right.
Kind of a very, Marty Gallagher's famous, you do 2 12-week programs a year. Well, what do you do the rest of the time? Well, I don't care. Because if you can seriously nail 2 12-week periods a year, the rest of the time, never miss a rep, constantly, add more weight in those 12-week periods. The rest of your training can be pretty, loose. But that's the mistake. If you're it's like these guys that are constantly wanting to lose, I want to get a six-pack, I want to get my arms bigger, I want to lose body, I want to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, which I think is the most, no, I can't even use the words anymore.
Jim Wendler told me that. I said, Jim, what's wrong with you? You're trying to squat 1,000 pounds and be ripped, ripped to the bone. It's just funny. And so the guys who are constantly trying to do everything get nothing. And so what you and your friends have hit it perfectly. What I would say most of you guys need to do, really, for most of the time I work with guys in their 30s who've had 12, 15, 20 years of training, very easily 20, 25 years of training. Yep.
You need to look at some other qualities for a couple months. You might need to do, hell, even machine. If you went to a machine training for a couple of months. Now, of course, there's people going, oh my God, Dan John says train on machines. That's not what I said. I said something different, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely. I was having this conversation with one of my athletes. He's a former wrestler, and he said, man, the past 3 weeks I've been box squatting 365, 385. I go, you're working too hard. I go, you're hitting that top 90% all the time. And then I go, and it never hit me until really I started reading a lot of your info. And then I said, man, I remember those like lazy guys that didn't really train that hard, but they always benched more than everybody. They were bigger. And I was like, what the heck? And it's like some of us, I think, from athletics, we're trained mentally that you have to like go through these hellish workouts. And what I found works real great, so we work with a lot of high school kids, is we always do sub-max on all the big lifts. Squat, bang, we never kill those lifts. But for the body weight stuff, the dumbbell stuff, they could hit the pedal a little bit more. But I found that when we go hard on those big lifts, we don't go anywhere. We just don't.
I'll tell you, I just got back from Ireland, and I was working with the GAA teams, the Gaelic Athletic Association.
Yeah.
That's hurling and the Gaelic football. And one of the things that I thought was insightful is that they have guys in their team. They have guys in their teams who are literally in their mid-40s. They've been playing for Carnmore since they were 8, 7, 6 years old. They played for the 6, 7, and 8-year-old team, in the early 70s. They're still on the same team. And it really occurred to me that what a great idea if we had, instead of having you go to a junior high school football team, and then a high school football team, and then a junior college, and then professional. What if we said this area has a 30-year commitment to you as a football player? Would that change? Would I be pounding your face into the wall from day one. No, we would give you years to develop. Years to develop. Instead of trying to have you peaked and ready to go as a 12-year-old taking on the mighty Marlins of, you know, Piedmont or whatever the heck the team is, you know. So I agree with what you're saying. I think you're right. This, boy, I tell you, you're on the right place. The second you start to move into thinking of long-term development, that's when you start to really, your brain unfolds as a coach, you know. And I constantly think about my vision of what I wanted my daughters to be as adults versus what some of the other parents thought of, you know. They would make these poor girls go to club volleyball, club basketball, piano lessons, cheerleading practice, club this, club that, 24 hours a day. And my thought was, I want my kids when they're in high school and in college to be able to keep being interested in expanding the worldview instead of being burned out. You know, so many kids go off to college and it's like, I'm finally away from my parents and all I'm going to do is drink, do drugs, and have sex. And sadly, I wasn't one of those kids, but sorry. But, you know, I think when you start to have a long-term vision of, I mean, as a parent, I mean, what do you want your kid to be like when they're 35? And would you maybe want to introduce your child to fitness if that's part of your long-term vision? Well, I think coaching is akin to being a father. It really is. You should have a long-term vision, you know. And I think it's fun to hear that you and your friends are coming. That makes me feel good about the future, you know. Sadly, a guy named Jordan from Southern California, he's the next Dan John. But Zach, I'm going to allow you to be the next Daniel John. Okay?
Awesome.
So you got that. So if I die tomorrow, okay, that you can. I'm the next Daniel John. That can be your brand title, okay?
That's awesome. That should help me out a lot.
You got that going for you, you know?
Well, I got a question for you because I've been reading your stuff for so long, and I'd say like last winter I started getting some serious injuries that I felt crept out of nowhere, but that really debilitated me. And when I started looking at how I was influenced in lifting, and I started remembering like some of your articles, and I remember you saying something about, yes, you can teach an old dog new tricks, and one of those things you said, learn the Olympic lifts. So I never did the Olympic lifts, and I say to myself, you know, I really wish I did. My influence came from heavy lifting. Do the power lifts. The Olympic lifts are too complicated, and I started doing snatches in the garage, got myself bumpers, and for sure, I'm sure my technique was nowhere near perfect, but it feels awesome, and I'm only using 95 to 135 sometimes, and it sure as heck ain't anywhere near what somebody could deadlift, but now that I'm doing it, I say to myself, I can't believe I never at least tried this.
You know, Zach, that's maybe a topic for another time, but that's the whole idea behind this thing that's called intervention. And the thing is, I don't want your listeners to think I'm saying go snatch and clean and jerk.
Sure.
What I'm telling people is if you have the basic human movements locked in, that'd be push, pull.
First verse, I'm armed till I'm on an island. My life's riding on an autobahn, on autopilot. Before I touch dirt or kill y'all with kindness, I kill ya. My natural persona's much worse. You've been warned if you've been born or if you conform. Slap up a cop and then snatch him out of his uniform.